Well, cheers, I do, buckaroos. I do a live YouTube video here. If you can hear Pat Travers crash and burn, I don't know the rights to Pat Travers crash and burn. Hey, I thought I'd do a little beer and whiskey with you. So I've got, I poured myself an ounce and a half or a jigger of some Wild Turkey 101, a classic bourbon here. Going old school. And I picked this up for a couple of reasons. One, it was inexpensive. But more important, I kind of want to revisit a classic. I think, in the times we live in with craft beer and craft whiskeys, I think a lot of these classics, well, I think they get dealt a bad hand. A lot of people want to disrespect these whiskeys for one reason or another, when I think they're really better than some folks want to give them credit for. I'm going to pair that with the Piney River German Road Oktoberfest Lager, which I know now is supposed to be more of a Vienna style. So here we go. So I'm going to pour it in my pheasant mug here. Give it a rather aggressive pour to get some head. Then slow it up a little bit. So I poured an ounce and a half in my snifter here. These were some of my mom's glasses, and she gave me most of her glassware. There were some specifics that some of the other kids wanted, or my other siblings, I should say, wanted. But she gave me the better portion because she knows, well, I appreciate glassware, and I drink more than the other four. Some of them want them just sit on a shelf. I actually use shit. That's one reason Mom wanted me to have certain glasses. But anyway, I digress. I hadn't had the Wild Turkey 101, and I've been looking at a lot of recent reviews and other whiskey sites I'm on various social media, and this whiskey was getting hammered. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to revisit it just to see. And what I found was, I'm not that far into it, to be honest with you. But I had a couple drinks of it last weekend, and to be honest with you, I think a lot of the criticism has been overly harsh, and a lot of it is trendy, right? A lot of it becomes trendy to smack down certain brands, right? And I think a lot of the criticism I was reading didn't make a lot of sense, and it was criticism for criticism's sake rather than being accurate. And I think that's the problem with trends is it becomes trendy to knock somebody down just because others are doing it. It's bullying basically. So I felt the need to revisit and be fair. I'm not getting paid by Wild Turkey. I'm not making any money. I paid for this bottle, but I thought they deserved fair treatment because I felt like they were getting unfair treatment. So this is a classic 101. And so it is a little boozy on the nose. It's 101 proof. It should be. Nice toffee on the nose. I feel like slight toasted hazelnut notes as well. Certainly oaky, little vanilla. Fruit notes. I kind of go back and forth with this. It's like a lot of certain beer styles, right? Porter stouts, where traditionally you don't get fruit notes, but it's become trendy to say there are fruit notes in a beer that shouldn't be getting fruit notes. And I think the same thing has happened with bourbon. However, yeah, some might feel some dark fruit notes. You might feel raisin, you might feel date, but what you really should feel is what I mentioned earlier. Oak, vanilla, toffee, nutty. Now that's really what you ought to get, but you might feel those fruit notes. And what I have is an ounce and a half straight neat. And sometimes it helps to add just a little bit of water to a whiskey or any whiskey, to be honest with you, because it does open the bouquet. But I wanted to drink this one pure, just an ounce and a half with nothing else, in a snifter where I can really concentrate that nose. Then I wanted to use, these glasses that my wife, my mom handed down to us. I gotta be honest with you. I've got the so last weekend. What I did with this was or actually it was the weekend before. What I did with this was I revisited it the same way my dad drank it. My dad was a bourbon water kind of guy, so I did one big ice cube, equal parts bourbon to water. I had, well, actually not quite. I think I did 2 ounces of bourbon to 1.5 ounces of water with an ice cube in there. But today I want to go straight neat, just to really boil it down. This is a little warm, but I'm not going to go straight to hot because it's not off-putting in any way. It's 101 proof, man. You know, you really should feel some alcohol, but it doesn't burn. But there is some heat, sure. So again, you know, you should pick up some vanilla, some toffee. I get some nutty toasted hazelnut-like notes, but I also get I feel some oak as well from the bourbon barrel. However, I also am getting, now this is a bourbon that uses rye as a secondary grain. So rye balances out that corn sweetness. A bourbon must be 51% corn, a minimum of. This one uses more than that, but it must be a minimum of. So you do get some of that rye spice to balance out that corn sweetness. However, what this also does is that barrel will gives you some spice. And barrel spice you get at the end. The rye spice you'll feel throughout the drink, typically more in the middle. But the spice you get at the end, a lot of people think is that rye. No, it's not. The spice you get at the end is typically from that barrel. That barrel, that same oak barrel, that charred oak barrel that gives you the vanilla notes, also will give you some spice, especially if it's a Missouri white oak. Missouri white oak tends to give you more spice notes. A lot of cinnamon typically, and that's what you feel in this particular bourbon, is a lot of cinnamon. This really is, you know, it's an inexpensive bourbon per se for 101 proof. I picked it up for about $20 a bottle. If you can hear Y&T, don't stop running. I don't know the rights to Y&T, don't stop running. Got my heavy mix going on. I've got 2 mixes on here. One is called Easy Does It, one's Heavy Does It. Easy Does It I did with mostly songs I know my wife likes, plus some other softer rock tunes I thought she would like for long drives, right? But I did a Heavy Does It, not necessarily heavy metal, but you know, harder rock tunes from my generation. And some heavier blues, contemporary blues that I like. I gotta be honest though, the toffee notes, the nutty notes, I think are brilliant. And I don't think this is a harsh whiskey. A lot of people think you need to highball a whiskey like this. I don't think you need to. I'll be honest here, let me take a drink. A whiskey like this, I mean, I'm making no face here, guys. This isn't a whiskey that some think you can drink neat, and I'm going to disagree with them. I think a lot of folks are being harsh to this whiskey are being harsh just because it's like that bully, that middle school bully mentality. They think it makes them sound cool to hammer something because they see other people doing the same thing. The truth is, I don't think these same knuckleheads that are saying this is a terrible whiskey would think it's terrible in a blind taste test. I don't think they could tell this from a $40 whiskey. Because I'm trying to be very fair here. I'm not getting paid. Wild Turkey's not paying me. I'm not trying to boost it up because there are whiskeys I prefer. However, I think you got to be fair. I'm drinking this neat and a snifter. The nose is nice. The whiskey is not harsh to drink. So I'm going to put that off to the side just for a second. So I thought I'd pair this. I was looking for a beer to pair this with, and I had one German Road left. So I thought, you know, a malty beer I thought would pair nice. So I've got the Piney River German Road. 5.5, 25 IBUs, I believe, are the stats. And you know, it is a beer, But you do have a lot of the same flavors here. It's big and malty, toasted hazelnuts. So that's one reason I thought they might pair well together. It's nice. It really is. It's a nice beer, and it works perfect with this particular whiskey. Anyway, I apologize for the frivolity. I like this band, again, from my generation. I don't think they'd be considered heavy metal by today's standards. They were considered, metal back in the day. Now they'd be probably considered a hair band. However, they really weren't a hair band. I think they got categorized that for songs like Summertime Girls and their look in the mid-'80s. But they were out a decade before then, man. Yeah, and again, I'm making no face here. This isn't a hard whiskey to drink, so I really believe that those people are being hard to this whiskey are only doing so because of things that, it's that pretentious snobbiness, right? They think, well, they're cool. I only drink these kind of whiskeys. I mean, it's that mentality. Right? I'm only going to spend X amount, an X amount dollar of wine is bad. You don't care if they like it or not, but if it only costs a certain amount, it's bad. And I think that the whiskey beer has gotten in the same direction with the snobbiness. The truth is, for about a $20 to $25 whiskey, it really isn't bad. It probably does lend itself best to a highball, even a cocktail, which is why I wanted to pour 1.5 ounces in a snifter to really boil it down, right? To be completely honest, and quite frankly, it's not hard to drink. Neat in a snifter. The flavors I'm getting, again, I get a lot of toffee. I get hazelnut notes accompanying the toffee. I get a nice amount of vanilla. You might find dark fruit notes. You might hit some raisin or date. I get a lot of cinnamon at the end. I think for the money, it's really not a bad whiskey at all. It probably is a whiskey best suited to highball, to be honest with you. But I'm not having an issue drinking it neat and snifter. So there you go. I think those that are out there talking about how bad this whiskey is are nothing more than posers, trying to look cool for the masses in favor of more trendy alcohols of the time. There you go. But I tell it like it is. I'm not on anybody's payroll. So I can be honest with everybody. I'm not trying to flip anybody off. It's just easier for me to drink this way. Helps me balance the mug, right? I'm actually having carpal tunnel surgery on my left hand Thursday. So don't typically drink Mondays and Tuesdays, but I might have a beer or two Monday or Tuesday because starting Wednesday, the day before the surgery, I won't be able to drink. And the surgery's Thursday. They'll probably be on painkillers Thursday and Friday, possibly Saturday. Although in the past, to be honest with you, I only take the painkillers that day and the day after. And then I quit taking them. Near the end of my dad's life, he was in such chronic pain. They had him on so much crap that I do believe, even though he would have never admitted to this, I do believe he was addicted to the pain pills. So I'm very paranoid about that fact. So when I've been given pain pills, I take them for 2 or 3 days and I'm done. I'm not taking them anymore. I'll take the naproxen or I'll take the meloxicam. I'll take the anti-inflammatories. But yeah, I really wean myself off pain pills quickly. They do make me a little nervous. And quite frankly, I'd rather have a beer or a shot of whiskey. I find that more enjoyable. Anyways, let me finish this whiskey up. Yeah, you know, I to be honest with you, I was trying to find a reason to dislike this neat, and I really don't. I mean, you really break it down when you pour it into a snifter because it really, concentrates that nose. And do I think other bourbons are more aromatic, more pleasing aromatically? Yes, but for the price, for 20 to 25 a bottle, I don't find this harsh in any way on the nose or the palate. There you go. I'm going to knock this back. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, Purveyor of Wisdom. Now I'm going to finish up this beer. Let me change props here. Let me take the whiskey bottle down. Let me put the beer can up. Piney River, German Road. It's the first year they've done this beer, and I gotta say, it's pretty freaking fantastic. I was really surprised that they didn't medal at the GABF because they're doing some great beers, and this one really should have done something because it is that good in my opinion. So malty, very malty as it should be. I personally get a hint of honey. But that could be just me. I get just a little bit of honey-like sweetness, but I feel some toasted hazelnut-like notes. Sometimes in the style, you will get a toasted bread, baked crackers. Oh, I love this tune. Golly. If you can hear Judas Priest, Diamonds and Rust. I don't know the rights to Judas Priest, Diamonds and Rust. If you're a fan of Judas Priest, you know that this song was written by Joan Baez. A lot of people don't realize that. It's a folk song by Joan Baez. But this hard rock / heavy metal version of this song is brilliant. It really shows that you can take a tune that was originally done a certain way, take it in a whole other dimension, and make it maybe even more relevant than it was to start with. The message of this song works in a heavy metal background, in my opinion. So there you go. Hey, man, I can go music, too. I was a music guy before I was a beer guy. I can be Tom the Rock Whisperer. That's what I was before I became a beer guy. I was one of these guys that really wanted to be a musician. I really did. I just didn't have the talent. I had the drive. I just didn't have the skill, man. I played keyboards in the early 80s in a handful of bands, but I honestly, I didn't have the talent. I didn't. I think my writing skills were good. I do believe I have a handful of lyrics that I've written, I think, might have been good for somebody else, but I just didn't have the ability to play. And now, between arthritis and carpal tunnel, I just can't play anymore. I was never very good anyway. I always referred to myself as a rhythm keyboard player, because I could hit the chords. I learned chords because I knew I couldn't do runs. So I learned the chords, but anyway. Trying to hold this with my left hand, but my left hand has really gotten seriously bad. Anyway, I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, BeerVangelist, prolific beer drinker, Purveyor of Wisdom. All around good guy. Let me put this down. Remember, folks, life is serious. Beer and whiskey should not be. How about we relax and start treating people well? Because somebody has a difference of opinion in whiskey, beer, or politics, whatever the case may be, we ought to be able to be friends with anybody. We need to disregard this Sith mentality that if you're not with me, you're against me. There you go. That's all I got.